technical analysis first here. We'll talk news in just a minute, Matt.
Yep.
What are you seeing in the chart?
Well, number one, I think your eyes always go back to something that this type of price movement reminds you of. And I'm looking at this just very quickly in recent history, this little test we had of the 50-day moving average. And, like I said earlier this week, anytime the market starts increasing the volatility, obviously that's fear building in the marketplace to a certain extent. And the fear is obviously building a little bit. And I want to be clear on that, a little bit. And like I said, with when we were talking in the pre-production show, we were looking at some of the precious metals out there, and we were looking at copper. And I said, it's hard to see the world ending when copper's doing this, right? It's just so I get the fear is building a little bit, but once again, when you got energy doing that, and when you got communications holding up really, really well, and when you have, not energy, but industrials breaking out and testing the little bit of Cody's special here, snapback test of the breakout channel. When you have finance, showing, momentum in trend, and, kissing off a rising 90 MA moving average with a hammer candle. I think we should put a little bit of put a little stop loss on that end of the world conversation that I've been hearing a little bit in the financial world this week. All we're doing right now, in my opinion, is we're simply testing support levels. That's all we're doing. We're testing support levels. Yeah, there's always going to be areas of the market that are a little bit more volatile in these conditions, aggressive areas, high flying stocks, those types of things that are fundamentally disconnected from reality, quite frankly. And that's always going to see a little bit of increase in volatility. And so that does add to the overall mindset of fear building in the marketplace, the concern building in the market a little bit here as well. But again, we have yet to break the 50-day moving average. And last time we did this little song and dance routine, right? This little two-step routine we did over here. Down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up. Test the 50-day moving average, test the 50-day moving average, hammer candle coming off of it, hammer candle coming off of it. And no, you're not out of the woodworks yet. We said it's a little bit of a reprieve from the volatility, but it's what you want to see. And when you look at, and when you're looking at this on a 30-minute chart, discount this a little bit. That got caught up in the volatility and got gobbled up right, very aggressive at the cash open. But where did it come into? The same type of price performance you came into. And we talked about this, literally on Monday when I said this could be the low of the week. And when you're looking at this and you're coming into those same levels of candles, you got a double bottom, you got a double top, and you're fighting for a breakout of that neutrality on the intraday, that is the concept of slowing momentum. And so again, I do have to say this, Tim, and you've heard me say this many times technically. Slowing bearish momentum is not an indication of bullish momentum. It's just an indication of bearish slowing momentum. That's all it is, right? You want to see that next movement to the upside on the intraday chart before you're like, yeah, bulls now have control. Bulls don't have control on the price yet. This is a little bit of a slowing momentum. We're coming into the weekend. It's been a tough week. It's kind of like we just want Monday to come already. Just give us Monday already. But we're seeing the slowing of the bearish momentum here today. You're seeing it contract a little bit. Now we got to see the price action above these levels start to be a little bit more consistent. And maybe we see that on Sunday night on the futures open coming into the cash open on Monday. I think this is very constructive. If you wanted to, if we're going to have a decent week trading next week, you needed to, next week starts with today. Starts with today. Because if this candle doesn't hold today and we do come under the 50, you've blown out of the water a ton of technical patterns that you might not know about yet. But I'm telling you, Frank does, I do, because we've done some scanning here today for the weekend reports. And there's some really good technical patterns, but it really it's about this level holding, because if this level doesn't hold, those technical patterns are now violated support, or those technical patterns are no longer in those flag-based patterns, or those technical patterns are no longer in standard bullish retracements. The violated support levels of that, and at that point, you're going to need a little bit more time to set up. And so if you're anticipating next week being a fairly decent trading week, You're getting what you need, at least to start here on a Friday. You're getting what you need.
Frankie, what is your thoughts on tech?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with Maddie right there. I mean, pretty much as I was going through my scans, all the things I liked felt like they need at least one more day. I don't see, for at least how I like to do things, I don't see Monday being a heavy trigger day for me. I mean, you never know, right? We'll see where we go, but
we'll see where we end up.
Definitely stood out to me. It felt like a lot of things that could be, little, like Maddie said, little flags pulling back into the 9, but have not even started to really see a ton of slowing momentum on the intraday just yet. So it feels like, to me, this is, like Maddie said, the start. Need probably a little bit of time to get, at least broadly speaking, some of these, to really develop the way that, the textbook way, if you will.
Well, and honestly, Frankie, I mean, that's what's going to start here on that intraday chart in the S&P 500 is if you are going to have that, maybe it's Monday, maybe it's Tuesday. I'm just talking about that next week as a trading week.
Right.
But this is what you definitely want to see. You want to see that slowing momentum. You want to see support start to build. And right here, you only believe this is support right here because you're testing this level over here. You think it's going to act as support, but it hasn't confirmed as support yet.
Correct.
With the upward movement in price and then the retest over here, you now have that as confirmation, as a support level that you can start identifying from a technical perspective. You see that same conversation over here at the double top, triple top, quad top, and now you're fighting for that breakout. And once you see that breakout on the intraday and you start to see a little bit of higher high, higher low, more consistency to the top side, I guarantee you're going to see a lot of those retracements that you have started to see build in energy as you see these downward movement in price, as you see this downward movement in price in industrials, as you see this downward movement in price in financials, as you see these downward movement in prices in some of the better areas of the market, you're going to start to see that form these levels of support and perhaps get some triggers in energy and perhaps get some triggers in industrial and perhaps get some triggers in finance here. Whereas you're basically waiting for the NASDAQ to settle down and stop throwing a temper tantrum.